Ooh, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 102 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, incomparable Zach Jones. Joined as always in Urdu, his name translates to dickhead, my brother from the same mother, Lester Jones.
What's Urdu?
Oh, that's the language that people speak in Pakistan.
It was a Miss Marvel reference. God, it's almost like you didn't watch the show.
You weren't actively paying
They
attention.
talked about Lester?
And speaking of dickheads, throbbing, veiny, luscious dickheads,
Oh, wow.
we also got the Ninth Wonder, Chocolate Thunder, living in sin and pushing that shit in, the pussy juice sipping, just the tipping, passing out dick like bullets from John Wick, the phenomenal A.J. Singh.
What's up, everybody? Zach, you should be my hype man when we go out. Or something.
I'll be your wingman. I'm actually a good wingman because, like, I make people look better because, like, they're like, "Oh man, fucking Quasimodo here. You look pretty good."
He knows how to find the fat chicks.
So yeah, later on in the episode, we'll save it towards the end just for people who haven't watched and don't want to be spoiled. But we're going to review the last two episodes of Miss Marvel, episode 5 and 6. But what else have you guys been watching? And we last week we did our review of Thor: Love and Thunder, so we didn't really talk about anything else. But go back if you haven't and listen to that episode. It was a good one. Yeah. What else have you guys been watching besides Miss Marvel?
Just YouTube reviews of like movies, and then also, you ever heard of this?
Almost as good as the real movie.
Well, I mean, I could either watch a scary movie and get scared and get nightmares, or I could just watch like somebody review it.
I feel like you got a sense of like a lot of movies and TV shows that you've never watched.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, I know of it. I know people's opinions on it.
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea of a lot of horror movies that I have not seen. But, what did I... You know what? I'll think about it for a little while. I haven't been able to figure out what I did watch this week.
Okay, what about you?
I think I've pretty much caught up with a lot of stuff. I've been watching Alone, but I've been working late, so I've been like watching one episode a day.
Anything the week prior? Because like I said, like last week we didn't really talk about TV and stuff.
I don't know. Like I said, I caught up on everything. Caught up on The Boys.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a few things that came to an end. So we watched the conclusion of the Boys, which, man, what a great season. Just overall,
Boys
just
has been
fantastic.
I'm going to watch it.
And you guys are like, let's watch Miss Marvel.
I know, we should have been reviewing the Boys. We definitely fucked up.
It's just that Marvel's like,
It's so
Marvel.
ubiquitous, everybody
Yeah.
watches the Marvel shit, Also, Strange New Worlds came to a conclusion. Really liked this whole season, really. I think of all the newer, like, Star Trek shows, it's definitely the strongest.
Yeah, I've only watched like 4 of them. I still got some of those I could watch.
They're good, man. I'm liking it. Also, Spacefaring Adventure, still watching the Orville. They had like a time travel-y type episode. I haven't watched, they just dropped a new one last night, which I haven't had time to watch yet. But man, Orville's been great. You guys, if you're not watching it, watch the Orville. It's really good. I finally, you guys would not be interested in this, but I finally went back and watched the CSI Vegas reboot. Watched the first season of that. It's closer to in quality to like the latter years of the original CSI series rather than like in the beginning. When
Thanks.
Still very watchable, but not as good as it used to be. And speaking of not as good as it used to be, but still very watchable, I started The Flash Season 8 on Netflix.
You are a marathon man, dude. You stuck with that?
I still, though, haven't made it through the final season of Supergirl, which I have to do eventually because I'm contractually obligated. But
I think The Flash, I watched the first season. I was like, yeah, that was kind of fun. I watched the second season. I was like, yeah,
Season 2 was still
pretty
really,
good.
really good.
Maybe it started falling off somewhere, I remember.
The one episode with Harrison Wells, like when he actually like confronted Cisco. Yeah.
Yeah, he like kills Cisco, and then I think that's kind of the first time they do like the timey-wimey thing where they like
I loved that episode, man.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those early seasons of Flash are fantastic. Yeah. I will say like this one, definitely not as high quality as those beginning seasons, but I have found it like to be so far a better watch than last season.
Who's still in the show, main character wise?
So obviously, Grant Gustin, Flash, Iris is in it, Caitlin Snow.
Okay.
You know what's weird though? So like Cisco last season left the show.
Yeah, I heard about
and
that.
so far he hasn't been on it. But also Harrison Wells, that guy, I'm blanking on his real name. He left the show, but so far this season, like he's been in several episodes.
Oh.
Which is weird. And also they announced that Joe West, Iris's dad, was also kind of leaving the show. But so far, like, he's been in several episodes too. So, like, I don't know. It's like they leave, but they still, like, hook them back for a few, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it's like they weren't getting as many opportunities as they thought, and they just go back to the show a little bit. Kind of happened with Hopper on Stranger Things, right? David Harbour.
Oh, really?
He did Hellboy, and he did something else. And then his career just didn't take off in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think Hellboy helped him. That movie sucked.
Yeah, so I mean,
Well, I haven't watched it, but apparently it sucks.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
Either.
all indications point to suck.
Yeah.
He also had a very bit part in the first Suicide Squad movie.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was like, I think like the Joker's like henchman or something.
Oh, okay.
But he's not in it very much because the Joker isn't even in it much. What else? Oh, I started season 2 of Only Murders in the Building. Another great show that you would have zero interest in.
That has Selena Gomez, Ted Danson.
Steve Martin. Although
Steve
I can
Martin.
see
Oh,
where you can get him. And Martin Short.
Okay.
It's basically like a comedy mixed with a murder mystery. I like it quite a bit. But I know somebody over there wouldn't be interested. You're just, I don't know. I just find it weird that you don't like murder mysteries at all. Like, you don't like the puzzle of a good murder mystery?
I don't know. I'm sure someone could make one.
You like Knives Out, right?
It was okay.
See, I love Knives Out. And yeah, he was just like, meh.
That's such a good movie.
So good. And the second one's coming out this year.
Yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
Knives In.
It's actually called The Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery or something like that.
Huh. Like an anthology series.
But I
of
think it's
movies?
also coming. Yeah, I think it's like. Well, I think Daniel Craig
Oh, okay.
comes back, but everybody else is like new. But I think it's going directly to Netflix rather than theaters.
Oh, great.
So we'll be able to review that when it comes out.
Yeah. I did watch this week a lot of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. My sister's been watching it.
Oh, I heard you admonishing her for watching it without you.
Yeah, I started liking it. This show is crazy, man. It's like a musical mixed with this. Like it's kind of like I think mostly women watch this show.
Yeah, it's one of those shows like I know of, but I've never seen any of it.
It's wacky, but
Women are like, I understand her.
but it's well, yeah, I can see that. But I don't know. This show's really funny, man. I just really like it. It's lighthearted and silly, and yeah, it's just really funny.
Damn, she be crazy. Bitches be crazy. The show, it reinforces my position. And then on the gaming front, so a couple weeks ago, I finally finished Ghost of Tsushima. A really fun game, just like a lot of open world games, about 3 times as long as it should have been.
Oh, shit.
The edition I bought came with some DLC that I'm like, maybe one day I'll want to go back to it, but like I needed to move on. So I'm not really a fan of like first person like shooters and games like that. But Cyberpunk 2077 was on sale, and because it's not just first-person shooting, like there's other things you can do, like in its open world, I decided to give that a shot. And like, I don't know if I'll finish it or not, but I'm definitely liking it better than just like a straight-up like first-person shooter. And it has like a lot of RPG elements and things like that. So like, I'm still having fun with it. It's definitely like, I don't know if you guys like heard the controversy about this game, but like.
Yeah.
It came out basically like at the tail end of the PS4 generation and into the PS5, well, like the new console. And like on PS4, when it first came out, it was so broken that PlayStation actually stopped selling it. They took it off the store. That's how broken it was.
I know a lot of people were complaining about how badly glitchy it was and stuff.
Yeah, and so like it's been out for like since then, and like they've patched it several times. And like I think they are now, like you can get it on PS4, but pretty much people are like, don't play it there. So I'm playing it on PS5, and like it's still you notice bugs. You'll notice characters like glitching through things, walls and shit, like clipping through solid objects, and like not really bad or anything. And then like the other thing that's annoying is like sometimes like you'll drive your vehicle to a mission. And like then you'll do the mission and your vehicle disappear.
Oh.
And like I had one time where like I was just like I parked like you'll see like these things that aren't even missions, but like you'll just see like a group of enemies that you can choose to engage if you want to or not. And so I literally like parked my vehicle like right on the road, like barely moved from it, shot these guys, turned around, and my vehicle was gone. I was like, God damn it.
You got like 5 stars, the police are coming.
Does it really slow down your travel time, like not having a vehicle then?
Yeah, I mean, eventually, like, you can buy vehicles to where you can call them to you, so it's not like a huge deal. At that point in the game, though, I didn't have a purchased vehicle yet, though, so I just had to like run around until I could find another one or find a fast travel like location thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's just you would think a game in this day and age that kind of stuff wouldn't happen so much, but in this game it does.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, have you heard of Elden Ring?
Yeah, and that game is like, it's like the biggest selling game of the year so far, and a lot of people projecting that even with Call of Duty, like it'll still be the highest selling game this year. Like, yeah, it just did like gangbusters. It's not my type of game, so I'm not too interested. But
I like Skyrim and Dragon Age, stuff like that. I think I'm interested in this game, but it's just I heard it's so hard, man. Like I heard at some point only 50% of people had beaten the first boss, like somewhere when it had come out like 2-3 months afterwards.
Yeah, it sold really good, but I'd be interested in the stats of like how far people are getting into it,
Yeah,
Well, you've got OCD, so maybe you got a chance.
Yeah, I'd be spending the rest of my life playing that game. Restart.
I mean, the thing I've heard though is like the advantage over on Elden Ring over like games like other games that from Software, the company that made it, like the Dark Souls games and things. Like the advantage is like you can find like lesser enemies and just farm until you get your stats up.
Okay.
So like you do have that option, but yeah, it sounds like a really lengthy game. But if it's really fun, maybe it's worth it. But
So side quests.
lots of side quests. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a main story kind of guy. Side quests I worry about later after the main story, maybe.
I've definitely gotten like side quest fever.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like doing a bunch of bullshit.
Only game I had that in was Fable. I loved that game. That was a Xbox classic, and I think they're coming out with the like a new version of that game.
They're making a brand new Fable game. They announced it like I want to say about 2 years ago, but I to date I don't think they've had like any other like stuff about it. So like I don't know if it's in development hell. Man, I mean, I think COVID's partly the blame, but during the last couple of years, like almost every game has been delayed. It's just like rampant. Like you don't believe a game's coming out until it's coming out because everything's delayed.
I don't know if these are related, but do you think that could be something to do with the VFX artists who are working for Marvel? Like they're all having to do like CGI from Marvel, and maybe they don't have enough people who are working on these games?
It's interesting. I don't know how much crossover like the VFX like people between games and movies, but it could be because I know like there is like that's a big problem in the video game industry is that they are overall like understaffed. I don't know if it's specifically in those like categories, but I know that with movies, like they say basically every VFX like production house is busy on like Marvel movies and just there's so many movies right now that are so visual effects intensive that I think that is why you're seeing some delays in movies too. Is it's like they so many of the VFX houses are just like swamped.
Is that why Miss Marvel reminded me of like Hercules with Kevin Sorbo?
Probably.
There were some bad ones in there.
It'd be funny if She-Hulk was just like slathered in green paint. Like fucking what's his name back in the day.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how Lou Ferrigno didn't get some sort of skin problem from
He probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably an intensive operation taking all that off. You need a team with freaking alcohol swabs or something. Cotton balls.
Goodness gracious, man. I think he pretty much hates that show, right? Like Lou Ferrigno, you can't even talk to him about the Hulk, right? You just kind of...
I actually don't know if he's one of those people that doesn't like to talk about... some celebrities, they like love to talk about like whatever made him famous, and then other people are like, talk about anything else.
Yeah.
Was it you that told me that Lou Ferrigno story where he was like an asshole?
I don't think he was an asshole. I think he was like bullied.
No, there was like some story where like, I don't know if it was like a Comic-Con or something, but like this like 8-year-old kid brought him a drawing. He's like, "This is you" or whatever, and he's like, "This is trash."
Oh my god!
I have not heard that story. I thought Lou Ferrigno was a nice guy.
I don't. I could be.
I could see somebody doing that. Maybe William Shatner. This is shit.
Anthony Starr.
Oh yeah. They're like, well, people would probably be like him being an asshole to them. Like, yeah, Homelander, give it to me.
For sure. I think they do like it. Like he plays it so well. He just hams it up,
Man, he's perfect for that role.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
He's so good in it.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know what his altercation was in Spain or whatever that was, but I kind of don't care about it as much after seeing some of his acting.
He's like, if he's that good, we'll just call it method acting. we'll say it's fine.
Yeah, as long as he's not physically hurting people. Well, that might have
He
been.
was, though.
Try
He
to
was
stop doing that,
assaulting
Anthony. Chill out, man.
You get one per country, that's it.
Yeah.
Make sure not to double up.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Should we do one round of stories before we get into Miss Marvel?
How much time are we at? I think we'll go over.
Yeah, we got 2 episodes.
I think we got time to do one round of stories.
Okay, but I don't have anything. Heads up.
Let's see what I got. Oh, I have had this for a while. So, okay. I ditched teaching to become a financial dominatrix. Men send me money for nothing. Lena Michaels claims she makes around $100,000 a year through her loser club, which helps men get on track in aspects of their life while fulfilling their sexual fantasies. Yes,
I'm sure they're on track.
I've heard of this like financial domination stuff. It's so stupid, but yeah, go ahead.
Lana says she traded in her teaching job to take on a new career. A woman who used to discipline students for a living has revealed that she swapped teaching for an unorthodox new career as a financial dominatrix. Lena Michaels, who calls herself the loser life coach, earns up to $100,000 every year for absolutely nothing. After moving from the UK to Murcia, Spain, 3 years ago, Lena looked for alternative work due to the pandemic and discovered adult streaming platform Fansly. After joining the platform and experimenting with different types of content, she found subscribers started sending her money for no apparent reason. I would receive messages saying that they sent it because I'm a goddess and they are worthless losers, she said. Lena said she found herself a niche when men started sending her money out of the blue. Lena set up her loser club to help clients work on different aspects of their lives. Some asked me to be mean to them or for certain things in return, but it was always simple, like a couple of photos or a voice video call, tipping much more than I would usually charge. These unusual requests grew. Lena realized she found a niche. She said, "I began researching the niche, and I started to understand it more and more. I joined self-help groups for recovering FinSubs, what they call a person who is who's a financial dominatrix. I asked many questions about how it made them feel to keep sending money over and over until they regretted it. I found out that they often lacked self-esteem, were virgins, had humiliation kinks, had controlling parents, gambling, drink or drug addictions, and many more things."
So pause. I feel like this is like that Breaking Bad where Jesse goes to the Alcoholics is not Narcotics Anonymous or whatever.
That's what this is. She's like testing out the pool of potential clients. Oh my gosh. All right, she's doing her research. She founded the Loser Club, where she took on clients who needed to make changes in their lives, but who also wanted to pay for her steamy content. I could use their sexual urges to help them make some changes and also satisfy their sexual needs and fetishes all in my content, she explained. She added, clients now pay her to take control of certain aspects of their lives. Which include personal training, improving their social skills, being their agony aunt, and even training so that they can last longer in sex. Lena said she gives the coaching in the form of sexual role play, so she'll assume the position of a dominatrix by talking down to her client until he shows progress, at which point she'll praise him. She explained the subscriber receives new daily tasks and has to send back video evidence for sexual content, rewards, or attention. The loser has to call me Mistress Lana. So she's really kind of still a teacher in a way. She's got assignments and she's grading them, kind of.
Like, okay, if you're a loser or whatever, now you're like, this sucks. I need help not being a loser. And someone's like, hey, loser.
And they're treating you like crap.
And you're like, you're right, I am a loser.
Get it together, loser.
How much do I have to pay you to fix this?
How much do I have to pay you to yell at me till I fix it?
Let me ask you this. Do you think there is even a single woman in the world that has this fetish? Like, I feel like even if I had Brad Pitt looks, I could not find one woman where I could be like, hey, you dumb bitch, like, send me money. And she'd be like, oh yeah.
I don't see women sending money.
Is.
You think there is?
Like, if you're like a gigantic piece of shit and you're in jail, like, they get tons of fan mail. It's like there are women who definitely like creeps.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
I've heard that those women like men in jail because, like, they know where they are.
Yeah, they can't cheat. Well,
right. Well, so I don't think that's exactly the same situation, but I don't know. I can't imagine like getting off by losing your money.
I mean, how many? There's tons of these people. There's multiple dominatrix.
That's the other thing. You would think, like, even if this is a fetish, it would be such a rare fucking thing. But apparently there's many men like this. Yeah. They just have, like, money to burn, and they just like it taken from them, and that does something for them sexually.
Man, I can't read people at all because I would never pick up on that in a person. Like, that's the
other thing is, like, you've come across people in your regular life that have like these weird fetishes, and you're just like totally oblivious to it.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of murderers too.
I think about that sometimes too, like. Because at some point in your life, you've like probably been in the same store with the murderer.
I've probably talked to one at some point.
Probably. Yeah, it's just... I do think about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Or, you'll maybe live in the same building as one. Or, you just never know.
Well, we have that cousin where husband's in jail for murder.
That's true.
I didn't meet him, but people in our family definitely met him.
I mean, I think I was in the same room with him, but he was like... wasn't like a talkative guy, didn't really say much or anything. I don't think I ever heard him say anything, but
he was just sitting there taking notes.
I think he was like a white supremacist too or something.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But
who did he murder?
I don't know, like It sounded like
a couple people like mysteriously died around him or something.
Oh.
my dad said, and I don't know where he heard this or if it's true, but he heard that he had like mob connections or something and was actually kind of like a hitman or something, but I don't know for sure.
I don't know, but Andresa said like he I shouldn't use names probably, but like he just had like it was like a storage unit or a shed that was just completely full of guns. They said he had a rocket launcher and shit, like just.
Dude, that reminds me of a story just like that. Like I saw a news piece. This was many years ago. I believe it was in Bellevue, Washington. They found a storage locker like that, and it was a news piece, and they were showing it. And yeah, like it had rocket launchers, grenades, all sorts of assault rifles, crazy. And it's like, what happened to the guy that owned that locker? You'd think if you own a locker like that, you're going to be fucking careful that you don't abandon it.
Yeah, like you probably wouldn't want to buy that storage locker because they might come back looking.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, once they found what was in there, it's just police called and everything confiscated.
The thing is, like, some of those lockers you can't really see stuff though. So, like, if I bought it and I got in there and there was like
a rocket launcher,
I'd be like,
You have to go
time
like,
to party.
I want to see that storage.
you have to go like Mississippi or Alabama to use that thing, like out in the middle of nowhere.
But
yeah, there's some people out there with that shit.
let's see. Anything else on that story?
No, that's it.
You said you didn't have one this week?
Correct.
Well, actually, you did have an interesting thing happen at work today. You want to tell that?
Yeah, when I pulled into the parking garage this morning, someone had parked a car and apparently filled it with gasoline and lit it on fire because it was fucked up.
Why did they choose the garage? They trying to choke people out or something? Like,
Well, it was street level and like the sides are open.
okay.
So, but yeah, it's still kind of a weird place.
That definitely makes me think that vehicle was used in a crime, or they were trying to destroy evidence.
It was stolen or something. It was used for something because something crazy. But yeah, it was definitely arson because like the engine compartment was fine. It was just like blatantly like inside the cab and the back, the trunk.
Man, Portland is something else, man. This place is wild. This is the Wild West out here.
But man, the kid who does that night patrol, like he had that one. He had the one, I don't know if we talked about it, like a week or two ago, he found a dead body that had overdosed.
Oh, right.
And like way back, like his first night, I've told this story on there before, but like there's this guy who was, I guess, drunk, and he just took like this fucking Jurassic Park like shit and fucking went to sleep right next to it and was like rolled in it and stuff. And it was that's a whole story. That's a great story. But the same kid, like he had to deal with all of those.
Oh my god!
It's like he's getting all the big ones.
Is he the same one who got punched in the back of the head?
No, that was somebody else, but he left.
Oh yeah, I
For
think
good
too.
There was another one, like somebody threw a bottle at him, and he was a big kid, but you kind of figure he's like one of these big goofy types who wouldn't be very confrontational. And it's just like he took him and did the head to the knee and just kicked the shit out of the guy, and then he came in and quit.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. But it's an interesting job once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a quick sexy story for you guys. Retired vicar caught in the act with a Henry Hoover.
That's like Dewey from Scream or Scary Movie. Or Doofy. They make fun of Dewey.
Right.
He had sex with a vacuum.
A retired vicar has been fined and placed on the sex offender register after he was caught bonking a Henry Hoover. John Jeffs from Middleton Cheney, Northamptonshire, was naked apart from a pair of lady stockings when he was caught thrusting into the vacuum cleaner's nozzle. A shocked churchgoer caught him in the act while attending a talk about Asperger's syndrome. The witness walked past his office and said they saw Jeffs almost completely naked except for a pair of lady stockings. Northampton Magistrates Court heard he was standing between two dark chairs, thrusting into a Henry Hoover. Henry's nozzle took a thrusting from the former vicar. Credit SWNS.
Okay, what?
The 74-year-old noticed a member of the public But this didn't deter him, and he carried on romping away, later telling police that it felt naughty. The court heard he was in the office at the Baptist Center in Middleton Cheney in September of 2020 when he was seen 7 months after he stopped working as a pastoral manager at a Christian faith-based group. Of course.
What was he fucking to have to leave that one?
Oh, no.
He was found guilty of indecent exposure at the trial yesterday, Wednesday, July 13th. Jeffs, who had a clean record, was given an 18-month community order and ordered to sign the sex offenders register. He was also ordered to pay £845 in court costs and £200 in compensation to the victim who witnessed the sex act. I like that. You had to see it, so you get paid $200. The defense solicitor said that Jeffs was still coming to terms with the loss of his wife at a young age and was in a lot of pain because he was ignoring his health and his diabetes was not medicated. So, man, 74 years old this guy was. Just
I thought that he was 74?
yeah.
Over someone he lost in his youth?
Yeah, he lost his wife when?
How long?
It just says in his...
He's like, I've been fucking vacuuming for a while
At
now.
a young age, he's like, yeah, like I've took out a lot of vacuums in my day. You guys don't know that.
I mean, there are women who would have sex with him. There's women who have sex with anybody.
It's funny that they call it Henry Hoover because wasn't Hoover the president famously rumored to be gay?
I thought he was a cross-dresser.
Cross-dressing. Probably gay.
Yeah.
I think he was definitely suspected of being gay. But of course, this guy used to be part of a faith-based thing,
Hey, look, at least it's vacuums and not what the usual victim is in this situation.
Still, now, do you guys think it's fair that he was put on a sex offender list for...
Depends who watched him do it. Was it a kid or an adult? It sounds like it was an adult.
I think it was an adult.
I mean, like, if he was like, floor-to-ceiling windows, like, standing there, like, eye to eye with the guy, if that was on purpose, then maybe. But yeah, if you're just like, you got some guy walking by, I don't know.
I think he should have to go to all of his neighbors' houses and tell their vacuums.
Lock up your vacuum.
Was this in like a very public part of the church, or where was he exactly?
It sounded like he was like in an office,
or something.
in the church, but like people could, like anybody walking by could have seen it,
Okay.
I mean, you'd think he would have at least closed the blinds or whatever.
Yeah.
But it made him feel naughty, and that added to it.
Jesus is hanging on the wall.
He's in court just stroking it. He's like, oh, this is naughty too.
All right, enough of that nonsense. Should we get on to Miss Marvel?
Let's do it.
What do we have, like 10 minutes left? Let's knock this out.
No, we definitely got time. So we're going to start with, we're going to review episode 5 of Miss Marvel. This episode is entitled Time and Again. So we started off with this history package about the partition. And I got to say, like, getting a history education, like in the U.S., I never heard of it, like the partitioning. So basically, it was caused by like the divide of the Muslim population and the Hindu population. Is that basically what?
Well, Muslim population from everybody else. Like they separated, like they made a secular India and they made like a Muslim Pakistan.
Okay, but that's what led to it. Kind of was like the tension between those religious groups.
Yeah, what they were saying in the show and what I've heard before is that the British like fomented this, like they kind of edged them on against each other for a long time actually to like control them. And then it finally ended up in this.
Okay, so yeah, we get the history package, and then we're in 1942. We see Aisha being chased by a guy, and she basically just like turns around, throws a knife into his chest. And then
That, by the way, confirms what I was saying before. Like, she didn't just murder somebody in cold blood like they did in those rumors. Like they said in the rumors at the first episode.
oh right,
Like, she murdered a man. Like, how'd they even know about that, by the way?
yeah. How would they? It was just her and that guy chasing her.
Yeah, and then nobody else was there.
I mean, we're gonna get to it, but there's so much stuff in this show that just doesn't make sense. But basically, this episode was all about the backstory of the great grandmother Aisha, and like, it did answer one question because we were like, well, it was a man like she fell in love with, like, from her dimension. Or, no, he's like from regular Earth. So yeah, this is a story of her falling in love with him. He was kind of like, he was a Muslim who was like, kind of like speaking out against all the like stuff going on or whatever, and she so they meet, and this is very truncated, so it skips forward in time a little, where they give birth to Sana, Kamala's grandmother, and then they start falling on hard times, basically, I guess, because of the prejudice against them being Muslim.
Yeah, people weren't buying their
flowers. And he also said, like, they wouldn't sell his Aisha, like, milk or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So basically, they're having those troubles, and then Najma shows up, and she tells Aisha that she needs the bangle so that they can finally go home again. And like they have this exchange where like I think Aisha tells Najma that like she thought she was dead or something, or maybe the other way around. Like they hadn't seen each other in a while. And like she doesn't blatantly say it here, but you get the sense that like Aisha doesn't want to go home.
Yeah.
And she tells Najma that like she hid the bangle like somewhere for safekeeping, and she's got to go get it or whatever, which I think was a lie, right?
Mm-hmm.
She has it, and Najma basically tells her like get it by sundown tomorrow, so we can go home or whatever. You can tell there's like a little bit of contention between the two of them. So basically, Aisha wants to run from Najma. And she tells her husband basically that they need to leave because of the rioting between like the people that are, I guess, the religious groups that are fighting, So they start to go towards the trains that we've heard so much about in this show. Let's see. So Aisha ends up putting the bangle on Sana, who now they skipped ahead a little more. She's probably like what, like maybe like a 3-year-old or something.
Yeah, she's like a toddler.
Yeah. But then like Hassan, her husband, like confronts her, and he's like, "I know you're running from something. Like it's not just like these riots that are going on." So then she says like, she kind of confesses like, yeah, I'm not from here. And like, she kind of shows him the magic of the bangle a little bit. And like, I don't know if she tells that someone's after her, but I think she does. Like, she kind of confesses everything. So they get to the train station, but Aisha gets separated from Hassan and Sana. And when they're separated, like Najma finds her, stabs her for like betraying her. Let's see. Aisha pulls out a picture of Hassan and like basically their family, a photo of their family, her, Hassan, and Sana, and she says the whole thing. What you are seeking is seeking you, that they referenced in the earlier episodes. This causes the bangle to glow. So this is where Miss Marvel shows up. At the end of the previous episode, that's how it ended, was she was there. And I thought it was just like going to be a vision like type of thing, but no, she actually time traveled. She's physically in 1942.
Yeah, the whole sequence, the whole thing took a long time, and part of me was like, well, the grandmother's story actually is kind of interesting, could be a good story, but it's like, this isn't doing anything for like the main story.
Right.
And it went on for a long time, and I was like, yeah, I was kind of I don't know.
It's a big problem with this series overall. Is they like a lot of times they're just treading water and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, Miss Marvel finds Aisha, who's dying, and Aisha tells her to get Sana onto the train. Kamala finds Sana, kind of picks her up, and then like she actually makes her little platform things for Sana to get on, but then somehow they just kind of magically turn into the stars mentioned in the story, and it never really tells how. Because she even says like, I don't know how to make stars, but here's these platforms or whatever. But then they immediately just turn into the stars, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's like they don't.
Time paradox avoided.
Yeah. Also, the time travel thing. That the Bengal did that. The Bengal helped her time travel.
Yeah, remember like, so Najma at the end of the episode before like stabbed it, and that's what caused it to go back in time. They never explain it. It just
stabbing the Bengal makes it worth time.
Well, and that's another thing that I kind of wonder. Like, is this going to get to the point where like she gets control over it and can just like time travel whenever she wants? Because that makes her like really powerful.
Yeah, she's like Kang over here
now.
Yeah, Loki didn't like show up and stab her for fucking up the timeline.
But yeah, so she ends up, being the person in the story, the whole time travel paradox, and this puts her back in the present. When she gets to the present, the veil between the clandestine's world and ours has now been kind of pierced. It's like open. So one of the clandestines is like, "Oh, yay, we can go home," and she goes to it, and she's just like instantly, killed.
Yeah. No, okay. This is confusing. Like she does it on purpose, but yeah, she like gets flash dissolved into a skeleton or something, and then like somehow that gives her son powers.
Yeah, when Najma does it.
Well, yeah. So first, like, one the other female clandestine that's not Najma, like she dies.
Okay, I don't think I caught that part.
And then Miss Marvel basically tells Najma, like, it's going to destroy the world. Like, it's just going to keep going until it destroys the world. And she's like, what about Kamran? And that basically, like, changes, like, Najma's mind. Like, has her little redemption thing where she's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it for Kamran or whatever. So because she like says Kamran's name before she jumps into it, it somehow magically closes this veil and gives Kamran powers.
Okay.
It's complete nonsense.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I didn't get that either. I didn't understand the logic in that.
That's pretty much the end of that episode.
well, there is a little bit more. Let's see, where was I?
Another thing is, like, they're going to have 6 episodes. This is episode 5, and you've just basically killed the only real bad guy with no real fight about it. Like, it's weird.
I know, when this episode ended, I was like, what's left?
Yeah.
I mean...
whatever that Homeland Security team was.
So yeah, Kamran gets his power. Kamala's mom, who basically was able to track her down because her phone's on the same family plan or whatever. So she shows up at the very tail end. She sees Kamala using the bangle, and I think Sana mentions, "See, I told you, there's magic in our family," or whatever. And I also thought this was cheesy, is that Kamala's mom, like, picks up, like, I guess a necklace or something that Kamala had been wearing or something, and it was, like, broken to, like, exactly form, like, the Miss Marvel, like, lightning bolt symbol.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, I didn't even pick up on that.
There's so much, like, convenient, like, bullshit in this show.
A lot of this show, it feels like it's geared towards kids, and adults don't have much content to watch in this show.
I got more to say about that, but I'll save it for the final episode. Right. But you're right, though. So at the very end, like, Kamran tracks down Bruno at his like grocery store thing, and Bruno, like, he's like, I need a place to lay low because of his powers, and like the DODC are after him. So Bruno agrees to that. But then like the DODC find him anyway with a drone. And so like Kamran uses his powers to bring down the drone, but like not before the drone can like get a shot off. And it just like sends a missile and like totally blows up this store. Like the DODC could have easily like killed so many innocent people here. It's like ridiculous. But that's how that episode ends. I mean, yeah, I was just like,
Oh, it ends with a. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's what I said.
but yeah, just like you, like I'm watching that, and like the first half of the episode, like watching her great grandmother's like backstory, I was like, this would maybe be fine if there was more episodes.
Well,
but
I think it could have made its own standalone story, and actually maybe even been better than some of the other arcs we've been seeing. But it just doesn't fit.
well, and also just like you were saying, I was watching it being like, this seems like they're wasting time that they don't have.
Yeah, I don't
Like
know.
they're treading water. Like what should be the A story is going absolutely nowhere while this story is being told. You know.
Yeah, this show, like, more than WandaVision, more than other shows, like, this one really started out the slowest because it never really picked up that steam we were expecting. And by episode 5, most other shows were, like, at their climax or close to it. And this one was, like, we were still learning some background story and some filler. So, yeah, it definitely left a lot to be desired.
And the background story is so much rehashing of what they've already like given you.
Right. So you already kind of know that story. I will say, like, even though I didn't like this episode, it's probably better than a lot of the other episodes still. But yeah, any final thoughts on that before we kind of get to the final
Yeah, let's forge ahead.
episode?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was episode 5. Okay, edit point. Are you guys ready to review the season finale of Miss Marvel?
Let's do it.
Okay, now, before I get into this, I want to say, anybody watching this on the YouTube video, please, please, please don't go anywhere. Don't change that dial or whatever like the kids do when they don't like something these days. Because more than any other video we've ever done, don't leave until you comment. And the reason I say that is before I even get into this episode, I just saw a headline today, and I didn't have time to really like go through it, but it said that this show, Miss Marvel, is the highest rated Marvel property ever of anything. And I don't know if that's like just critical reviews. I don't know if that's fans or everything combined.
It's both.
Yeah, like I don't know exactly like how they compiled that, but I believe it because like I follow like a lot of like YouTube channels and just people on Twitter that are professional like reviewers and stuff. And I'll be honest, we are in the minority. I have seen nothing but effusive praise for this show. Like people are fucking loving it. And like I can understand like liking the character of Kamala and like even finding her like I see a lot of people that are like she's so like endearing, and like sweet or whatever. And I'm like, okay, like I can maybe understand people enjoying the character, but I cannot see them overlooking how just like clumsily this story they're telling with her is. Like I don't mind the character, but the story they're telling with her is so bland and like so unforgivably stupid at times, which I'll definitely get into in this episode. Almost offensively stupid at times, and I'm just like, it kind of boggles my mind. So like, I don't want people listening that like do like the show to like think I'm like ragging on them. Like if you like the show, like I'm happy that you did, but this is why I want people to comment. Like if you love this show, like so many people seem to do, like please like comment and tell us why. Or if you're like us and they're like, I don't get it, please also comment. So like, because I feel like I'm taking crazy pills almost. Like,
Yeah, man. There's one thing that comes to the forefront to me. Like, I thought it was a great idea to showcase a culture. You know, like they brought a new culture in. They're showcasing it. It was really, that was done pretty well.
Yeah, and actually that part of it,
Yeah.
I don't mind. Like it is good.
But the story around it's just so unfortunate because it could have been really great. Like if they just put a very good coherent story around it, this could have been the best property in my eyes. But to other people it is. But yeah, I just don't see it.
Yeah, it's just it was paced really weird. The villains were nothing, not compelling at all. It meandered. It never went anywhere interesting in my eyes. And like I said, just filled with really, really stupid things that if you think of critically at all, you're just like, that didn't make any fucking sense. And I leave this being like, okay, yeah, I want to see Kamala like in other stuff, and like spoilers, like the very end of this is like, oh, you'll see Kamala again in the Marvels movie, and I'm like, okay, I'm up for that. Like I like her as a character, find out enough, but man, this story they told in this season really like did nothing for me.
Yeah, I hope they make it more adult next time.
Do you guys got anything you want to say before we kind of get into the details of the episode?
Not really.
Okay, okay, let's do it. Because man, I wrote down some stuff in this episode that was just really stupid. So yeah, episode 6, entitled "No Normal." So we start off at that like burnt out like store they they killed, and the damage control agents say they want to take Kamran in alive. And that's why they fucking just blew up that story, which could have easily killed him. Again, such stupid dialogue that doesn't make sense. So what happened was he and Bruno escape and get on the subway, but Kamran's powers are going crazy, and like he's making those crystal things are just like coming out of his body like really nilly. I think maybe like one of them like went through like the subway window. Like they're scaring people because they're like getting close to people, things like that. We get a scene back home where Kamala tells her family about her powers, but basically they already know because like the mom told the dad and then he was loud on his phone or whatever, so they all know and they're not surprised. Nakia calls Kamala. Well, actually, she called like her brother, but anyway, she talks to him and tells him about the Circle K store being blown up. We get a scene between Kamala and her mom did she make her costume or did she just like get it made in Pakistan? I wasn't sure on that.
Oh yeah, I don't know either.
But anyway, she ends up.
Judging by the other costumes they made earlier, she had it made.
One way or the other, though, she got the famous Miss Marvel, costume from the comics, basically, and gives it to her. And I think we get a scene where like Kamala's like running on platforms through the city in her new costume, So Bruno and Kamran, they're on the run, and they end up going to the mosque. But there they meet Nakia, and she's like, you can't stay in the mosque. The DODC agents are going to be all over this place. Yeah, they'd already been
there. They're like, let's lay low.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, you remember that place where ice was the other day?
Exactly. So another thing that doesn't really make sense.
Also, when you mentioned Kamala running through the city on her little steps, did you notice how she stopped at a red light?
Yes.
I was like, come on, man. That is so corny.
It was really corny.
Yeah.
So Nakia tells Bruno and Kamran to go to the high school because it's a Saturday and nobody will be there. But they end up getting there like at nighttime. So I'm like, it probably didn't matter what day of the week it was. It was probably going to be empty because they didn't get there until it was like fucking late, So now the DODC agents do come into the mosque, and there's this whole thing where like Nakia like distracts a bunch of them by like making it seem like they're in this room, but then it's like this boy that she like says is her boyfriend, even though it's not or whatever. It was a dumb scene anyway. And so while the DODC are distracted on that side, basically the the rabbi guy, or what's like the head of a mosque called?
Oh, Imam? I'm not sure.
That could be it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So they sneak him out, and they sneak him out kind of by those shoe racks from the like first episode, which made me write down what happened to the shoe thief. Because remember, like,
There was a shoe thief. Yeah.
why? Because when they first mentioned that, I'm like, oh, that's going to be kind of her first thing as a superhero. She's going to get the shoe thief. No, they just set that up and did nothing with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus. I mean, why even mention that if maybe that's going to be a season 2 thing? The fucking
main
shoe
villain.
thief. Yeah, the main
That
villain.
was just a cultural put in.
Yeah, I think it was because like I've been to a temple in India and somebody stole shoes over there too. So I think it just happens a lot.
Oh, okay.
Don't take your good shoes to the mosque.
Yeah. Your Gucci or Versace or whatever.
Yeah,
they were.
whatever it was.
So like, even though like Nakia like told the boys like Kamala is going to meet him at the school, she ends up meeting them in an alley that I don't even think is at the school. Anyway, Kamran's powers do this thing where like they start like kind of exploding out from him, and he says it's like he's being crushed from the inside out. And as that happens, you can kind of hear Najma's voice. So now Kamala calls, I believe the boy's name is Chemo, the red dagger scarf guy, and says that she needs to get Kamran, out of town so that he's safe. So that Chemo guy says to get him to the harbor by midnight, and he has a guy that can get him out of town. So they get to the school, and like Nakia also meets them there. But then the DODC instantly show up there.
Well, before they show up, they're putting a plan together, right?
Oh, I'm gonna get to the plan because it's so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, we should talk about the plan.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I got some stuff to say about the fucking
And
plan.
Home Alone.
Yep.
Exactly. I was gonna say it's like Home Alone.
Well, you have two people
so much
with incredible superpowers. Like, let's see if we can think of some dumb shit in this school.
But before that, so they're all talking, and then
Not as fun as Home Alone, though.
Right.
Zoe from episode 1 conveniently shows up. And the reason she says she's in the school is because she uses their school theater to film her TikToks
Yeah,
because of the lighting.
Where the fuck did she come from? Yeah, it was weird.
I'm like, no fucking kid would go to their school on off hours to film fucking TikToks. It was so stupid. And it's also one of those things where it's like she shows up and immediately joins the conversation like, oh yeah, I heard what you were saying. And
Everybody's like, nobody likes you.
and basically she's like, oh yeah, Kamala saved my life in episode 1. So I'm in it to win it and help you guys.
Yeah, I was like, when they first brought her in, I was like, I don't even remember the chick. Who is this? And I was like, oh, it's that
Right,
girl.
Yeah.
It was weird.
So this is so stupid. So now we're getting into the whole plan thing. So we know the cops show up. Oh, and also very conveniently, her brother shows up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I went to school here. I just climbed through the bathroom window."
How did he know to get there? When did he get there? Like, it didn't make any sense. He was just in the room at the time, right?
Yeah, he just shows up, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I made it through the window, even though this place is surrounded by cops."
And the thing is, like, he didn't serve a purpose either. He was just kind of like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was.
But okay, so the cops show up, and now they're doing their plan. And the cops apparently are patient because they go there, and they had to be out there like a minimum of like 2 hours
While they
doing
make this plan.
nothing while they make this plan. Because she even does that thing where she creatively draws out all of her plans on the chalkboard, and I'm like, come the fuck on! The show is so stupid. I'm like, that's the thing. This is where I'm like, this is offensively stupid. I get that the show is aimed towards a younger audience. But this is like, remember shows we would watch when we were like teens, like Family Matters and things like that, where it was like written by adults, but they were like, we know like this is just a kid's show, and so we can make it as dumb as we want. That's what this writing on this show, specifically in this part, reminds me of. It's like, like, we're going to dumb this down so much. We don't, like, we know adults are going to watch this, but we're going to write it just for the kids that won't think about this twice. So yeah, she draws out her stupid plan. Okay. So yeah, first, her brother and Zoe grab some shit out of the lockers while they're setting up this plan. Bruno and Kamala are making something mysterious in the lab, which ends up being really stupid.
Forgot about that.
They grab all the fire extinguishers. They grab all of the softballs. And this is the thing. Like, I'm sure schools like this do have a lot of softballs. Do they have, like, like fucking, like, crates of them? There's so many of them.
There was a lot.
Yeah, and they were in the basketball gym, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so the DODC like female agent, she's talking to like the male like agent who's maybe like her boss or whatever, and I wrote this down because I found it so stupid. She says, these kids have left a trail of destruction across Jersey City. Really? How much have they done? The biggest
They
destruction.
blew up that corner store.
I know. I was going to say the biggest destruction is the DODC blowing. Like what? They broke a window on the subway. Like, even when his powers exploded a little bit that time, like it didn't do the thing it does at the end. So like, I don't know, maybe it blew some papers around. Like, they have not left a trail of destruction at all. Like, I was like, that's a stupid line. But basically, like, her boss or whatever tells her like to not engage, and she like instantly disobeys them and does it anyway. Let's see. I wrote down. Oh, Kamala tells Bruno what happened in Pakistan, but Bruno's like, "Oh, don't tell Kamran right now that his mother's dead and all that." So, like, the DODC agents like start coming into the school, and apparently this was part of their plan. They rigged up a speaker and a disco ball to distract the DODC agents.
Yeah, they made it look like it was going to be a bomb, and then it played Pakistani music.
Something like
that was kind of. Was that a callback to Thor: Love and Thunder, where Valkyrie has that little thing and they think it's a bomb and it's a speaker?
I remember. Well, hers looked like a grenade or something.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
It might have been.
I
the
don't
same
think it was a
thing.
callback because, like, I
They're
doubt
so
they can
close
even.
to-
Yeah, but like, it was dumb. I can tell you that. So Zoe, because she has like a million like TikTok followers or whatever, she gets on there and tells all of her followers what's going on and gets them to like come show up at the school to help them against the DODC. I wrote, they somehow distract the DODC with the fire extinguishers, and one of them escapes through conveniently placed furniture.
Yeah. It was a clever plan.
Again, so stupid. God, I hated this. Okay, so now the agents go into the lab, and I think there's like this balloon or something they pop, which causes this reaction where it makes like, I wrote down, it creates a ludicrous amount of foam.
Yeah, it's called elephant toothpaste. It's a real reaction.
Right.
And I don't know, there are TikTok videos where people try to do really big ones, but it's, yeah, I don't know what that was supposed to accomplish exactly.
I mean, I guess it like
it looks kind of cool.
it slowed some of them down. Like, oh, I gotta
this is
wait.
confusing.
It was so
These
stupid.
DOD agents are like, ooh, foam.
It's slightly warm.
So Kamala and Kamran like end up in the principal's office, and like they're about to kiss when Bruno walks in on him, and then you can tell like Bruno's like, oh no, my woman's being almost kissed by this other guy.
That's another thing. You've got two like people with huge powers. They're off hiding behind a desk. Meanwhile, everyone else is running around, and apparently they have these guns that shoot sound waves that could like blow your head off. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah.
They set them to stun at least because they're just like blowing the kids
Well, the
around.
one blew like a big chunk out of the concrete
Yeah,
wall.
they took out of a wall. I was like, how is
He'll be stunned all right.
it's stunned and shattered to little pieces?
But organic, it differentiates between organic matter, and it's like, oh, we'll treat you a little softer, you know.
It's like, we got all our friends killed.
Yeah, and all the friends are the ones who are like guiding them out of there. They're the ones with the powers, and they're
That's
like,
right. Well, when they're hiding behind the desk and the friend comes in, he's like, you two get out of here. I'll distract them.
Yeah.
And then he just like does a dance and they like,
punch them.
take him down.
So now, like, they kind of split where, like, Kamran and Kamala kind of get a lead on the DODC. Well, like, first, like, one of them just, like, punches out Bruno, I believe. And then, like, one of them's, I think Nakia's, like, on the bike with the fire extinguisher attached to it. And they kind of, like, she crashes the bike, and then she starts, like, running from them. And this is where, like, they chase them, and it ends up with, like, the three of them, like, throwing the softballs at him.
Yeah, that was terrible.
So fucking
And those,
how do people like this?
yeah, those Asians just stood there. They didn't even shoot them. Like, they had every opportunity the whole time.
Those kids would be dead, straight up.
Yeah.
It was like, well, we got some Southeast Asianers here. Change it to real bullets there. I mean, yeah, they would all be dead. But anyway, they're all caught, and so now it's just Kamala and Kamran on the run. So now Kamala does tell Kamran about his mom. And, like, we get a couple scenes where, like, Kamran looks like he's going to commit, like, some real violence on the DODC agents. And, like, so she stops him, you know, from doing that.
I'm like, these DOD agents are out to kill, man. You guys you need to beat them up a little bit.
Let's see. So now Kamran eventually goes outside, and, like, the DODC starts, like, firing on him, but Kamala shows up, like, just in time and starts, like, shielding him with her powers. But then, like, they bust out this, like, large, like, sonic cannon, which breaks her shield. So now Kamala uses her powers, and this is the first time where she, even though she doesn't have her powers like she has in the comics, she does use them to embiggen. So she grows to maybe, like, twice her height, maybe, you know, and uses that to fight back the DODC. I think she, like, is able to, like, tip over one of their vehicles and it's something like that. And then, like, Kamran starts, like, also fighting agents with his powers, but eventually his powers start going haywire again, and basically, like, the crystals then just start, like, exploding out of him.
Yeah, I thought he was going to explode.
It seemed like it. Now, do we think that basically, like, he's kind of become the veil into that other world?
I don't know. I just assumed that he'd gotten power somehow.
But anyway, like, yeah, like, the crystals are just, like, coming out of him. They're, like, almost killing the other kids. They're, like, trapped on the bus and things like this. And so Kamala ends up, like, putting this protective bubble around him. And this was so they have this conversation. Like, she tells him to get to the harbor, and, like, her putting in the bubble, I believe, makes, like, the other crystals, like, disappear. But I thought this was so stupid. She, like, punctures a hole in the ground for him to escape. Where does that go? Does he just go to the sewer?
When I saw that, I was like, was there, like, a manhole there or something? What was the...
I don't think so. I think she
just,
literally
like,
just,
get in this hole.
like punches a rabbit hole. Yeah, she, like, punches a rabbit hole in the ground, and somehow that's going to get him to the harbor. I'm like,
I can't navigate through the sewers to the harbor.
I mean, there's so much just, like, stupid shit in this episode. I'm just like, how do people like this so much?
That was weird, yeah.
I think over time people will reveal more plot holes and stuff.
So now, like, the female agent is on the phone again with, like, her male boss, and he's, like, basically, like, yelling at her for disobeying her order and saying, like, oh, now there's videotape of you, like, fucking up these kids on camera or whatever, you know. So basically that's all wrapped up. The day is saved. The crowd, like, interferes with the DODC enough that Kamala gets away or whatever. So now there's a scene with Kamala and her dad at home, and they're talking, like, on the roof of their house. And this is what I was kind of referencing in the intro, is Kamala says that her name, Kamala, in Urdu, means Marvel. And he's like, you've always been our little Miss Marvel. And it's like, It's almost like that Peter Griffin Family Guy moment where
Peter.
he's like, "Oh, so that's what it means or whatever." It's like, oh yeah, that.
I was laughing at the Griffin one. That was so stupid.
But again, it's just like, really, it's just like, fine. I wonder if that's true. If Kamala in Urdu really does mean that, or if it's just bullshit they made up for this show. Okay, so now we cut to a week later, and Bruno has this conversation with Kamala. Oh, and she brings back the Elmer Fudd hat. So that's the thing. She likes that Elmer Fudd hat. But he tells her, and this was a big deal on the internet this week, that he looked into her jeans, and there is something different about her. There's
no penis.
I don't like you anymore.
Girls don't have a penis?
There's a mutation in her genes. She's a mutant.
The only reason the show has relevancy.
You know what? Like, I don't think this is true, but after seeing this episode, I was like, did they see this and be like, man, this is a 5-finger stinker. Let's put the mutant thing in there just to get people talking about this episode and hopefully forget everything they just saw.
Yeah, look, man, for me, I had to watch 5 and 6 together, and it was a chore. Like,
yeah, like I was having trouble staying on task.
Yeah.
Like I was wandering.
Yeah, and
I had to take notes on this thing, and it was painful.
the only thing that kind of gave me some sort of hope was that I had heard that mutants would be referenced in the show. But that was the lamest reference, because they barely even...
So the other thing, look, when the X-Men were first created, they were basically, and that was like in the 60s or whatever, they were an analog for like, gay people, people who suffered racism, all that kind of stuff, which is really, compelling for that time period. But like part of me is like, and this has never made sense to me, to where like when you combine the X-Men with the larger Marvel universe, it's like, why do people hate and fear the X-Men, but like the Hulk, they're like not the same, I would be much more afraid of the Hulk than I would be a lot of the X-Men, So so I was kind of hoping maybe they would take the X-Men in a little different direction. But I wrote this down because she instantly, this is a quote from her. She's like, oh, whatever it is, it's just going to be another label. So they're already setting this thing up to where, mutants are going to be labeled like a problem, and there's going to be all this prejudice towards them. And I'm like, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense when there's these other Avengers and things with powers that people don't put in that group. I'm just like, I don't know.
I would think like maybe they'll try to differentiate them based on like, prior history. Like the Avengers are known as like Earth's mightiest heroes, and they were seen as good. But then like all of a sudden out of the woodwork, you've got these people who are getting powers, and some of them are committing crimes and this and that. Like,
how do you introduce them? They haven't been around at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, that's one of the big questions is how they're going to introduce them.
I mean, obviously the X-Men have a long history because you have people who are like born in the 40s and stuff, or even further back maybe.
I mean, they could potentially use the multiverse and say like, oh, the mutants were in this universe, and now they're
like the mutant universe.
Somehow like have to leave that universe, or they converge with this universe or something.
You don't think it'd just be like they're underground, like they just haven't, been seen. They're very,
Not. I mean, you can't make that argument for like Magneto or something.
But then again, like if she just mutated, like are they going to say like, oh,
they start coming out of the woodwork? Like
maybe right now they're going to all start coming out of the woodwork.
But some of them have too much history for that.
Well, and also you want some of them older than others.
Yeah.
You don't want all of them to be teenagers. So
I'd say other universes. Xavier was in another universe. So.
It could be that celestial thing, like because the celestial, what was that? Thanos is the snap when they brought back all the life in the universe. That caused the what they called these the monsters to fight the Eternals. Maybe that also triggered like
the mutation or something.
I don't know. I'm reaching.
Yeah, they've been pretty good about sewing things together. So
yeah,
we'll see what they do.
And then we get the after credit scene where Kamala's on her bed, and all of a sudden, the bangle starts lighting up, and she's like, "What?" And then basically, it violently shoves her into her closet enough to like break her door, and then she comes out looking like Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. So basically, now her bangle also has like shape shifting powers, I guess.
Well, that's why I was like, I wasn't sure. I was like, did she change or did they swap positions? Like I was confused.
I mean, it doesn't technically say like if they pulled like a Freaky Friday or if it was a shape change. I'm thinking it's just like a shape change type thing.
I don't know.
So I mean, we don't know what her powers are right now. Like they're all over the place.
Not exactly. I mean, for the most part, they're the Green Lantern type powers, but you know, apparently the bangle has some sort of time travel thing to it, and now it has this shape changing aspect to it.
Is she God?
I mean, they're definitely making her very powerful.
Yeah.
And then we get the tag that Miss Marvel will return in The Marvels, which is the sequel to Captain Marvel. So yeah, again, like, I know it seems like we're really hating on this show, which we kind of are, but I will say, like, there, again, like, what do you guys think of her, just her as a character? Because, like I was saying, like, I don't mind her as a character. She is kind of like a sweet, endearing character. And I'm like, definitely up to seeing her on other adventures. But I just thought this particular season of television was bland, meandering, not well thought out. And the Home Alone stuff at the school really bothered me because it was so dumb that I'm like, I felt like they didn't. You remember how, like, they used to make a lot of cartoons that were like, kids love them, but the parents want to blow their brains out. Mm-hmm. And eventually, like, Pixar was like, hey, what if we make things that the parents can enjoy too, you know? And then, like, a lot of the other animation studios finally caught on to that. I feel like this show, unfortunately, leans more towards kids would love it, but parents would want to blow their brains out. But apparently I'm wrong about that. Like I said, we are definitely in the minority. Like, most people, adults included, love this show. And I'm just, like, confused by it.
Yeah, I don't get it either, man.
I've been thinking about it. I think it edged out Hawkeye.
Yeah, it did edge out Hawkeye for me just because Hawkeye.
I really hated Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I think I'm still going to say I like this show the slightest bit more than Hawkeye, just because it never quite pissed me off as much as that final episode of Hawkeye, and how I think it kind of ruined the Kingpin character. But it was, I'm sorry, like, it's bad overall.
Yeah, I got to put Falcon Winter Soldier above this show.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of just like
was an okay
it was a mess show,
yeah,
which makes it quite a bit better than this show.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, I
think it's great. I don't know what it is exactly that people are clinging on to here that they like so much. I really appreciate that people are like seeing a new culture and getting into that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But we should appreciate a good story too, you know? Like that wasn't something that was part of this show.
That's the thing. It just was not well crafted. The writing, man. I think you're right. That aspects of it, like seeing her culture, like seeing her family, is something you don't see on a lot of shows. It's something new. And that aspect of it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can get on board with that, you know? But just like,
yeah,
everything else was...
I think Kevin Feige could have been a little bit more hands-on with some of this stuff in the show.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's got to be busier than fuck.
Yeah.
But I do feel like this show did not have...
the same oversight.
Yeah, exactly. It just, yeah, I don't know what to say about it other than it did not work for me, though.
Yeah, it didn't work for me either.
But the fact that it's like the most highly rated show or Marvel like property it just boggles my mind. Again, like I'm really hoping people comment and tell me like what we're right about, what we're wrong about, and what they like about it, what they don't like about it, because I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, like I said, look, I think right now everybody's on board, but in the future, like people are gonna point out these plot holes and kind of come to terms with some of the writing issues.
I do wonder, like, once the novelty wears off and people maybe go back and think about this show, if they'll be like, wow, we were really caught up in something.
Yeah.
Because, man, I know recency bias is like a thing, but man, this show just, I'm like, again, I'm perplexed that people like it as much as they do.
It could be
I don't know.
it could be the visuals too. Like there was a lot of like eye candy for people, you know. Maybe they just really are stimulated by that.
But like he was saying, I don't think it's like even up there as like one of the better looking Marvel things. Like I think a lot of the VFX are like kind of
Hercules with Kevin
I wouldn't
Sorbo.
say Hercules with Kevin Sorbo. I wouldn't go that far, but they're definitely not as impressive as a lot of other Marvel properties. I don't think.
Hercules. Man, I remember some of the stuff.
There was some bad.
I would not put it quite in that category, but it's yeah, man. Yeah, like even if I had to put a number on this show, I honestly don't know what it would be. It'd be low though.
Yeah. Look, if I'm gonna put a number on the show, it'd be like 4 or 5.
That's what I was thinking. It was like a 4.
I'm at like a 2. I really didn't like it.
And who knows, if I went back, I might have even ranked Hawkeye better than that.
I just want to leave one slot in case they make Hawkeye, or again, Hawkeye 2. It'll be the Thanksgiving special or whatever.
I don't think it's this year, maybe the next year, though, that they are going to do that Guardians like Christmas special.
Oh yeah.
But I like the Guardians, so that ought to be
Yeah,
good.
Guardians would be fun.
This is kind of off topic. I saw a trailer for Rob Zombie's The Munsters.
I didn't actually watch that trailer.
And it looks
really bad.
Is it like
weird.
gory and weird like that? Gory?
it's like super campy.
Oh,
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect that from Rob Zombie.
Well, I think he's like a true fan, maybe. Like he was trying to have some, stay with the original. But yeah, it looks strange.
I saw the thumbnail and I thought about watching it, but then I never did. And then I saw some people talking about it on Twitter that they thought it looked like really bad.
It might be really bad.
Dang, that used to be a good show too.
Well, I'm like, if you like the show, maybe you will like it.
Really?
I don't know.
I mean, did you watch Addams Family?
Yeah, we watched the Addams Family more.
I always
than the
thought Munsters and Addams Family were similar. Like,
I think Addams Family came first, and then Munsters tried to cash in on that.
yeah, I think so.
It's a similar thing, like, yeah, comedy with, like, monster people.
Yeah.
Because the Addams Family was like the biggest show of its time. Like, it was huge.
I liked the Addams Family when I was a kid. I don't
Yeah,
know what to
same.
expect from this movie, but I do like the property, the Munsters. So.
I mean, anytime you get somebody who, like, writes and directs and puts together something all on their own, I think has the potential to be something interesting. And also, if someone's a really big fan of something, they put a lot into it. So I don't know. It was hard to tell. The trailer is strange.
I'll have to give it a look.
Yeah, me too.
Who do you know who plays? I believe the woman is actually played by his wife. Who's
Right?
in some
Yeah,
of his
he
other
cast
movies.
her in most. Of
But
his
do you know
movies.
who plays like the grandpa and like the?
Well, I was wondering if it was like that other guy he cast a lot, and I couldn't tell. There's a guy in like The Devil's Rejects and some of his others.
Are you talking about the guy that plays the bartender in like Kill
Yeah.
Bill? He's dead, so it's not him.
Okay, not him.
I-
It's hard to tell. I mean, it's
yeah,
a ton of
it's
makeup.
a lot of makeup. And
Yeah,
then
for
like the Frankenstein guy.
I'm not sure who that is.
Not sure. Interesting. His movies, like, I feel like most of them have not done critically well, but he keeps getting jobs.
I've seen only a couple. I really did like The Devil's Rejects. I thought, like, as far as like,
I saw that one once and it seemed like it was okay.
I mean, it was like realistic horror, and it was just like, oh, It was hard to watch sometimes.
I know he made a Halloween movie that people hate.
I saw
Yeah, I didn't
House
see
of a
that.
Thousand Corpses.
I've heard that one's bad too.
Yeah.
That was like, that wasn't real good. I saw that that was a long time ago. So I don't know. Other than I'm sweating balls.
If you guys had to write and direct a movie based on a TV show, what would you pick?
That's a good one. MacGyver. Oh no, probably not.
I think MacGyver probably works better in a serialized type of thing.
Maybe you could do like a serious twist on Married with Children. Like, I don't know what it would be, but something dramatic. Peg, I'm gonna save this marriage.
There's a lot of people who like look at Married with Children like that guy had it made, you know.
Yeah,
you got a house,
He had
solid
a hot
job,
wife.
family, hot wife, one sex. And
Yeah.
Yeah, Peg was hot. I don't know.
Yeah, I never got that either.
You know, Katie Seagal like isn't a bad looking woman, but I didn't like how she was made up as Peg. Like I was like,
The hair was over the top. But yeah.
Man, Christina Applegate though, she was the babe.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had a lot of babes on that show.
But it seems like she's kind of like jaded from that attention in a way. Like she doesn't seem like she's into that.
Oh, she aged well though. She's still like a fine looking woman.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with I don't remember his real name now. Al. He's like,
Oh, David Faustino?
No,
no, the dad.
Oh.
He was talking about how like people would come up to him on the street and be like, "Hey, Al," and he's like, "Man, people don't even know my name," which I'm doing to him right now. And
it's Ed
O'Neill.
Ed
O'Neill, yeah. But you know, he said he felt kind of bad about it for a while until he just kind of accepted it, and then you know, he kind of, I guess he was kind of like depressed about it and stuff, and once he started accepting it, then
but he eventually did that Modern Family show, which was a huge hit.
Yeah. Well, he said at the time too, because people were like coming up to him like, Al, he's like, my career's over. This is it.
I'm just Al.
This is the end. I'm Al now.
Yeah. I mean, even when I saw in Modern Family, I was like, what? Al Bundy? So
yeah, that doesn't make sense. How does he have another young hot wife? And he's just like this depressed older guy.
You know what's weird is like a show can be like so popular as like Modern Family, and I've never really seen it.
I've seen a few. It didn't hook me in.
Yeah, same here.
I think it's probably more of like a family-friendly, like broad comedy, isn't it?
I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it is about family, so I assume it doesn't go into real dark territory. Well, we've already got a little long. Should we wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone stuck around of us our Ms. Marvel bashing, like I said, please leave us a comment and show us the error of our ways. But anyway, we do thank everybody, and if you will, please subscribe both to the YouTube channel and subscribe on your podcast service of choice. Leave us 5-star reviews. Like I said, comments, thumbs up would be great. All those things do help in the algorithm, so please do that. And come over and also tell us about what you think of Miss Marvel on social media, specifically Twitter. Guys, where can people find you on Twitter?
At a name for this too, and that's the number 2.
At Unsolicited SUG.
And you can, of course, find me at Zach Jones Live. That's ZachJonesLive. And that is going to do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Have a good one.